We are in a super exciting season as a church, and I just wanted to share a couple things that are fun and amazing that are coming up. But first, can we talk about this Baby Monster series? Holy cow. It was unbelievable, and I know I'm so grateful to our pastor for how he poured his hard work into that and really the things that God did in my soul from it. I know I'm just so grateful. And that in conjunction with the 21 days of prayer and fasting has seriously been like one of the greatest things that I have experienced in my relationship with God to this day. And I'm just so unbelievably grateful. And I hope that fast was good for you too. It was super hard. On day 5, I was like, okay, there's more than 2 weeks left of this. I might die. But I didn't, and it all turned out fine. But I hope it was good for you too. I hope God spoke something into you. And even if you walked out of that feeling like you didn't, something that Pastor Levi recently shared in one of the Instagram Devos was that a lot of times fasting and prayer is preparation of a vessel for what God's going to pour into it. So if you walked away feeling like he didn't pour anything into you, he may have just been preparing you as a vessel to speak and pour into you in the days and months to come. So I just want to encourage you if that's where you're feeling like you're at. But it's an exciting season. We are just under a month away from opening our building, and it's dumb to even say I'm excited because you all know that because you've seen me try to hold myself together talking about it on the weekends. It's so exciting. I want to talk about that in just a minute, but also put on your radar something real quick that's happening on February 13th. All of you who are parents have already known about this, but we're doing something called Date Your Mate and Let Your Child Be Wild, where we are taking some time on February 13th from 6 to 10 p.m., and we're allowing all of our parents who serve on impact teams to leave their kids at the church and go out for a date night. It's not on Valentine's Day, and that way those who serve can still participate on Valentine's Day, but really just a way of us sharing with our parents, hey, we love you, we're grateful for you, and hopefully this is a blessing to you so you can have free childcare. We're going to provide pizza dinner and some activities for your kids, but it'll be a really good time. And so if you're a parent, register for that because we need to know who's coming. So I put the link in this email, and if you're not a parent, respond to this email because I would love if you'd be willing to help serve at this event. It's just going to be from 6 to 10 on February the 13th, but just a cool way to share love with our families of the impact team. So if you're not a parent and you'd be interested in serving, especially if you serve in Fresh Life Kids or in Fresh Life Students, reply to this email and we can hopefully make that happen. But wanted to put that on your radar. And now, March 2nd and 3rd is approaching rapidly with this new building opening. I was just walking through there on Thursday of this last week and just praying again through that building, and it is just so unbelievably exciting. I think that God is just going to do something that even exceeds our wildest expectations. But with that, I really believe that we are going to be having an influx of people stepping through our doors on that weekend and starting in that weekend as people are curious and want to see it, and even people who maybe have been curious about the building project as it's gone want to come see it. And so we're going to have a unique opportunity that first weekend to really capitalize on some momentum of people coming in to see this building. And so we want to steward that well. And, I have always fought to try to honor your time as best as possible, not overloading everybody with a ton of stuff going on. But this week before that opening, I just want to ask for you to just be available. We're going to have a ton of stuff that needs to get done, from moving all of our Fresh Life Kids stuff over, moving a bunch of stuff in there. And then these dates are super important. Wednesday, the 27th of February, we are going to be doing a team training for everybody that serves on a team except for worship and production. So if you're worship and production, I'll talk about you in a second. Everybody else, Wednesday night, 6 p.m., we are going to be doing a team training. And I've included in this email a link to register for that training. Please make sure you do that. I would love if everybody can be there. We're going to be walking through the entire building, getting acquainted with it so that when people step through our doors for the first time, it's not our first time, and we can be comfortable in that space and be able to show them around and be hospitable because we aren't also experiencing it for the first time. So every guest services, kids, safety, everybody except for worship and production, we're going to be doing Wednesday the 27th at 6 p.m. And we will not have childcare that night for that, so please try to plan ahead for that. Thursday night, at 6 p.m., we are going to be doing a full run-through for worship and production, where you're going to be able to have tech training, you're going to be able to get used to that space, the production room, all of that. 6 p.m. for worship and production. If you serve on that team in any capacity, make sure you're at that. And then Friday night at 6 p.m. of that week, March 1st, we are going to be doing a prayer and worship night, and in conjunction with that, be able to spend some time in action trying to train and get used to these roles. And so I'll explain in more detail as it approaches, but basically we're going to be having half of our team, half of you in the Liberty, spending a little bit of time worshiping and praying over the seats, praying over Fresh Life Kids, praying over this next season of what God has for us. And that half the team is doing that. The other half is going to be serving them as they come through our doors. So guest services, you can everybody can bring their kids that night. We're going to have kids team in place to get used to the check-in process and all of that, so that we're working out the kinks ahead of time. And then we're going to do that for about 45 minutes, and then switch places, have the other team come in like their guests. The proportion who just did worship and prayer is going to be serving, and I think it's going to be really special. And so I'm asking for you to be there for at least 2 nights that week. Wednesday night, if you're not worship in production, Thursday night if you are, and then for every single person to come on Friday night, because I think that's just going to be a really special time of not only training, but also really worshiping and lifting and consecrating that space up to God. For those who were there at that team night where we got to write prayers on the floor, it was just such a special thing, and I believe this is just going to really seal those prayer requests and seal this new season in with the power of the Holy Spirit as we dedicate this building to Him. And so I hope you'll join us for that. Each of those are at 6 p.m., Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I've included all that details in here. And we'll explain more as it approaches. But I wanted to put that on your radar so you can be planning for it. Because we really, like I said, want to steward this momentum well. And it'll be a real bummer if people come through our doors who are far from God, or maybe who don't normally come to church, and we aren't ready for them. And so we want to do everything we can to make sure that we're ready, so that when a person gives us one chance to prove to them why God is amazing, we have the ability to say, hey, here's why. Because He planned before the foundations of the world that they would be saved, and we want to plan ahead just like that. And so I want to put that on your radar. Exciting things. And then the launch is the 2nd and 3rd. Saturday night is going to be unreal. We're going to have food trucks and all the things. And then Sunday is going to be amazing too. We're going to do some really special things that weekend just to commemorate the launch. But I am so excited. I hope you're praying. I think it would be amazing if you could be praying for the Luskos as we're approaching this milestone. I have experienced that when dates like this and stakes in the ground like this come, there is an uplift and an upspring in opposition. And so be praying for them. Be praying for Allie and I. Be praying for each other. Be praying for our church as this approaches, that God would just stir in our hearts, and that the people of Kalispell would know that Fresh Life loves them, and we're here to show them a God that loves them intimately as well. But it's exciting things. If you have ever any questions, you can obviously reply to this email. But make sure you register for Date Your Mate and Let Your Child Be Wild if you have kids. And if you don't and you want to serve, shoot me an email. But also register for that Wednesday night team training if you are not worship in production. And for you who are worship in production, we'll send you some more details as it approaches. But I love you guys dearly, and I am beyond excited about everything God's doing. We will chat soon. We'll see you.